Let me ask you a question. How many interviews have you been on over the course of your career? Dozens? Maybe 100? And even at the executive level, I still see these same 5 mistakes costing people multiple six-figure roles. So in today's video, I'm gonna break down the top 5 interview mistakes people are still making in 2025, and more importantly, how you can avoid them so that you can walk into every conversation with confidence and leave with an offer in hand. Hey, just taking a brief pause here because I want to give you one of our free guides. We have a lot of them, so do me a favor, email me over at tim@execupgrades.com. Let me know where you're struggling in your search, and I'll send a guide guaranteed to help. Now, the first mistake is not leading with clarity. Don't do this. I see so many executives stumble right out of the gate when they're asked the classic, like, hey, can you tell me about yourself? So instead of giving like a focused, confident response, they're just rambling forever through their entire career history, or worse, they start with personal details that don't matter. You don't do that. Here's the truth, right? Executives are expected to set the tone. If you can't clearly explain who you are, the value you bring, and why you're the right person for this role in like the first 60 seconds, you've already lost a bunch of momentum and people will beat you out. So do this instead, right? Craft a concise pitch, one that highlights your leadership style, your biggest wins, the problems you solve for organization. If anything, think of it as your headline. If you don't own your narrative, the interviewer will make one up on their own, and definitely practice this. The second mistake executives make is talking tactics instead of strategy. Interviewers at the VP or C-suite level aren't looking for someone who can like micromanage everything, right? They're looking for someone who can steer the ship, right? When executives answer questions with like, I ran reports or I managed these tasks, it signals that they're thinking too low level. So instead, we need to talk about how we set direction, how we align teams, right, with the vision, and how we can grow revenue, how we've scaled ops or shifted culture. Always pull your answers up to the strategy level, because at the executive table, it's not about what you did, it's about the impact that you did. Number 3, not showing energy or presence. Look, you can have the perfect resume, you can have the flawless credentials, but if you come across as low energy, disengaged, you're done. Companies don't hire resumes or profiles, they hire leaders who can inspire people, motivate teams, handle pressure, do strategy at a high level. I've seen brilliant executives lose offers simply because they seem tired, distracted, too casual. So here's what you're gonna do instead. When you show up, man, show up, sit tall, speak with conviction, right? Maintain eye contact, smile, bring passion into your answers. If you can't project leadership presence in the interview, they'll assume you can't do it in the boardroom either. Now, number 4, avoiding tough questions. Look, you're gonna get hit with questions like, hey, tell me about a time you failed. Or, hey, why'd you leave your last role? So many people like dodge it, spin it, give vague answers, and interviews can smell that, man. People who interview you, right? The better way, just own it, show resilience. If you failed, talk about what you learned, how you adapted, how you came back stronger. If you left a role, frame it as a strategic decision for growth or alignment with values. Remember, the best executives, they're not perfect, they're adaptable. And companies want leaders who can take a punch, learn, and keep moving forward. And let's be honest, it's impossible to have success without failing a bunch. Now, 5th mistake, not closing the interview. Executives would never walk out of a board meeting without clear next steps. But in interviews, many simply say, thanks for your time, oh my God, I hope they call me, and leave it hanging. Man, that's a missed opportunity. At the end of every interview, you should reaffirm your interests and ask a strong closing question, something like, hey, Tim, based on everything we discussed today, do you see me as someone who can solve the challenges you're facing for this role? This does 2 things. It shows confidence and it gives you real-time feedback. Because here's the thing, if there's hesitation, at least you can address it on the spot. If it's positive, you just position yourself as the front runner. So let's recap the 5 mistakes. Not leading with clarity, talking tactics instead of strategy, not showing energy or presence, which is vital, avoiding tough questions, not closing the interview strong. If you can fix these 5 mistakes, I guarantee you'll instantly separate yourself from like 90% of people interviewing. And hey, as always, if you want more strategies like this, I drop videos multiple times a week on how to land your next executive role, scale your career, and really just become the kind of leader companies fight to hire. So do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button below, leave a comment with, hey, which mistake you've seen the most in your career and share this video with someone who needs it. Appreciate you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.